Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Blackout Gaming TV. That's the third night in a row. We've had some Highlander action for you, but tonight is the big one as we have the opening game of ETF2L's Season 9 of Highlander, and it is between the teams that finished in 4th and 5th place last season. That is Fair Enough, sponsored by TF2Pickup.net and WASP. Big game, big opening game for the season to kick off with on PL Upward. I'm CeeJaey. With me tonight is Sigafoo with John on camera and production. Sigafoo, you as excited for the new season as I am?
Of course I'm excited. Highlander action between two very closely ranked teams. What can you get better? And then on a payload map, it should be exciting matchup. Are you excited yourself, CeeJaey?
I am. I'm really excited. I mean, we had the hype show last night where we kind of went over all the teams and the expectations for the season. I myself am playing in the season as well, so I'm really looking forward to playing against these teams, seeing these teams play. And you know what? I think it's going to be a really, really close season. I mean, last season we had the top 3 teams, which were Panda, Chess Club, Premtech. Those 3 were pretty hotly contested, but outside of that, no one could really touch them, but I think the gap has closed. Premtech have left us, they've folded. New teams have come into the fold, and it's looking like it's going to be a really good season. And like you said, these 2 teams are very hotly contested. Last season, Fair Enough finished in 4th. They just missed out on the playoffs, whereas WASP in their maiden season finished in 5th, doing very well. But these are very changed rosters as well. A lot of different players on both teams, which some could argue they've improved, some could argue they've worsened, so it could change. But I want to talk about the map first, as we're just waiting for a few more players before we cover the rosters. Upward, this is something I've said to a couple of people, Sigafoo, and I'm not sure if you agree, that Upward for me is kind of more of the staple Highlander map than Badwater is now. I mean, discuss. What do you think?
Here's a go. Discuss. Let's go. That's kind of an interesting question. I'm trying to think about it. I think that, is it a more of a staple? I mean, it's definitely been played more, at least in UGC, it's seen rotations out, whereas Upward has pretty much been a constant. Upward also in UGC in North America has been in the playoffs, where Badwater has gone a little bit out of style. And I think in some ways that might be just because of Badwater. I think because the third point is kind of seen like this impenetrable point. Obviously, the pro version attempted to fix that and kind of get better at that, and I could see that this is definitely overtaken Badwater in terms of just popularity and play style. I mean, it definitely gives you more interesting games compared to Badwater, which is pretty standard. There's only basically the first point could be a little interesting, but really it's just the last point of Badwater that actually creates interesting dynamics, because the second point's never held. The third point is just kind of a stalemate if you can push it, and then the fourth point is where you can get creative. Where when it comes to Upward, every point can be creative and held in interesting ways. Besides, I guess the first point is usually the hardest one to hold on to, but every point after that can be held in different ways. And so yeah, I think I would agree that Upward, as I'm arguing against myself, that it has kind of overtaken Badwater in terms of it. I don't know, where did you guys come down to the discussion on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty much my personal opinion, but I think the general consensus in the community is that Badwater has obviously been played for so long and so much that people maybe get a little bit tired of it, and Upward's kind of still a little bit more fresh, and there's just so much balance about it. I mean, we've had a pro Badwater that's been used in UGC. It's not being used in ETF2L this season. It was thought about. We're just using the regular version. So yeah, I think Upward's maybe favoured a little bit by some teams. We have actually got both teams in now. So Fair Enough, like we said, finished in 4th last season. They also went to Deutschland, and they made it through to the grand final, where they lost out to my team, of course, Checkers. Of course, just racking up those wins. But yeah, they did very well, and a lot of these players did actually play at the LAN. So we can go down. We've got on Scout, we have Clark, who played Scout for them at LAN. Didn't play for them last season. Thomas played, but he's coming in and being main Scout this season. Heartsfarts, of course, the legend on the Beggar's Bazooka. LAN proven as well, and is still sticking on to Soldier. On Pyro, we've got MF. Lex was the Pyro last season. There were some rumours that he may be coming back for this match, but as far as I'm aware, he is actually staying retired for the season, and MF will be playing Pyro. On demo is Adiski. He's a new addition to the roster, replaces Death, who you might see is playing on the other team. And Adiski, I have to say, is extremely annoying to play against with those double donks he manages to dish out with the loose cannon. Heavy is Pidox. He's a new addition as well, replacing Kunai, who isn't playing this season, but he's got a lot of experience, having won back in Season 6 with Highlander. On Engineer, we have It's Mint, a former NG of the season, played for them last season. As well, on Sniper, we have Ruhi, played in Prem before with teams like Stacked, and is playing as main this season as far as I'm aware. Kind of like a job share with him and Blood Drunk. And the same could be said for CeeJaey on Medic. CeeJaey is the main medic, played with them at LAN, has a lot of experience playing with Fair Enough. But him and Mr. Palmsky are kind of sharing the job of medic, but CeeJaey is playing today. And Viljak, obviously, on Spy. I don't know, I mean, you must remember him, Sigafoo, from games we cast last season. Having played against him when he's on a top monitor with a top PC and 0 ping, he lands every ambi headshot. The guy is insane. So, I mean, who stands out for you there from kind of names from last season, but any new additions maybe that you think are going to be good for Fair Enough?
I mean, I kind of recognize a lot of the names on here. Viljak, kind of coming off of that, I've seen him when he's on fire. He is absolutely on fire. I said not only with the headshots, but I've seen him get the backstabs, make the plays. Hearts. He is just, I've seen him just get crazy bombs in. I mean, especially on this map, expect to see a lot of great soldier plays just because it's such a high skybox that a soldier can do just absolute crazy amounts of work. And I've not seen Adiski before, but I'm actually kind of interested to see him. As you said, it's Doman, of course, always a game changer when they play so hard. And then, of course, It's Mint. I know him, Ruhi as well. I'm expecting to see them to make an impact this game.
Yeah, I mean, Hearts for them, Fair Enough are one of the older teams in Prem this season. I think Highlander are the sort of the old dogs at the moment, with this being their fourth consecutive, or fourth, maybe fifth consecutive season, I'm not sure. But Fair Enough have been around for a while as well, and Hearts has always been there on the soldier. Just, I don't know, he just does insane amounts of damage, was one of the most damaging soldiers last season on the soldier, and he's has been mixing things up a little bit. I've seen him running Black Box with shotgun sometimes, which is equally annoying to play against, because you think, oh, he's landed all his rockets, and then he whips out the shotgun, takes you down anyway. But yeah, moving on to the WASP roster now, and this is a much changed team as well. I mean, this team's been together for a long time. They've played in every single division in ETF2L. I don't think there is a team that can say they have also done that, from Div 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way up to Prem. But the team is a lot different to the team that played together last season. So starting off on Scout, I think it's going to be Bugs they're playing Scout. Didn't play Scout for them last season. It was Forsaken. On Soldier is going to be Lippy, Ukrainian national soldier, and also played in Prem 6. So he's a very good pickup, a bit different to Trox, who is moved on to Heavy for WASP, so a bit of a change there for them. Still on Pyro is Crow, who she has some pretty good reflex and is well known to spies for being rather annoying at fishing people out. On Demo is Death, replacing Sinox. So Death, playing against his former team, played for Fair Enough last season, has moved over to WASP now. On Engineer is Olba. He's a long-time NG main. He's been around the block a few times, so he's playing for WASP. Medic is Clefsas, one of the leaders, and I believe one of the main callers as well, and he's been around with WASP for a long time too. Stormin is playing Sniper. I think their main is Kenzie, but Stormin plays equal amount of games, and he's kind of come out of nowhere really. He's played for a couple of teams in high, but hasn't really played an official above the lower divs, and he's come up with some pretty good performances in PCW, so he's one to look out for. And D-Toad is on the Spy, also joining them this season as well. So we are entering the setup now. In the red is going to be Fair Enough. They'll be defending first with WASP in the blue. They'll be setting a time, and once WASP have set that time, Fair Enough will be trying to beat it. And Sigafoo, I'll leave you to take away with the suicides and see what WASP can make do of this.
Yeah, so here we go. A little bit of a far back sentry gun on this initial setup, level 3 sentry, of course, being run. Though, not uncommon to see minis, though not too common, I guess, in the EU side as the scout comes in there, just getting some intel with the bonk. As actually the demo goes down to a nice sticky trap there. On that far hand side, so that's going to slow down the suicide, but it doesn't matter as much as this initial stage. It's just really about pushing that cart forward, because even if you do get the suicide wave in, you just kind of want to get something else. So you have the spy in a nice spot here on the blue side. He's just giving a lot of intel to his team, standing over top, looking to make a play, and he's actually not in a bad position to make a play on the med here, as they're just getting some forward pressure, but still no suicides coming out, so we might just see an exchange here pretty shortly.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you said there. You just got to move that cart up, but the Uber does come up from WASP very early on, actually, and it's singled onto Death. He's trying to get some spam onto that sentry. The sap comes in. Great play there by the spy Detoed. Saps the sentry, and Death comes in, finishes that off. But WASP do lose a couple of players. Trox went down there, and the counter Uber comes in from Fair Enough. But here, Pidox is walking forward. That conch as well coming in from Hearts. Great play there just to keep his team alive, but Mint is down. That is no NG for Fair Enough. They don't have a sentry, so I'd expect them to see them kind of backing off here a little bit. You've got an Uber disadvantage, you've got no NG, and you've got no sniper now as well, as Stormin lands a headshot onto Ruhi. And I would expect Fair Enough to start to backing out here. We see Pidox trying to back away. They're just worried about that sniper. Can he get the Clefsas? Gets an arrow kill onto Clark. And Lippy also takes on Hart, so no flank now for Fair Enough. And that could be dodgy, Sigafoo, if Wasp about to pressure and the backstab comes in. Dito takes down CeeJaey, and loads of players go down there, and Wasp are in the ascendancy here.
Yeah, and here we go. Clefs is sitting at 100% Uber. They probably should hold on to this actually as the heavy for the defensive side. Tries to go into a little bit of a cute play here as we have Disky trying to put out some damage. The soldier actually tries to make a bomb in, but gets shut down by the Domain. Actually does try to make a flank play there with the Beggar's Is that the Beggar's Bazooka? Yes, it is. But he's going to barely get out alive with just a couple HP, and the second point's going to go down there. But Dito making an absolute great stab there, taking down the medic to open up this play, and a really nice job there by the offense. That's Wasp. Pushing through, taking that advantage. Now they're still at a 60% advantage. If they do this correctly, they should be able to utilize this in a good way. Very aggressive sentry gun forward hold going on by the demo man right now, Disky. But we should be seeing an exchange here pretty shortly, or at least a push forward. You know, you don't want to let the other team get 100% Uber, but also this third point is risky because you don't want to push it too quickly, though Death did go down, as well as Stormin, as well as the Engineer. So here we go, Uber does get popped off. Not really sure what caused it to go off because it's incredibly early and barely takes any ground there as Death trying to find something, but looks like we're going to get reset set as CeeJaey is now sitting at 100% Uber.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake there from Wasp. I'm not sure what caused the force, but they used the Uber behind the house. So I'm not sure what happened there, but Stormin does land the headshot onto Ruhi, and that's going to open up a little bit more space for him and Wasp to play around. Just looking at Vildrak here, he is behind, he is on top of the medic, and he could jump in, but he has been spotted by Death. Forces that dead ringer to make him back away. Where Clefsas has been building well, he's at 80% already. CeeJaey has been sitting on 100% for a while now, and this, of course, is a big point to defend. But with a Disky down, demo down for Fair Enough, it's going to be really hard to control that ramp area. And Pidox is trying to get some good spam, forces Clefsas. He didn't actually need to use there, the heavy had backed off, but they do the exchange out of Fair Enough, and the Pyro there, MF is just trying to push the demo away into the cliff. But he does manage to survive, and Wasp really haven't actually gained much ground. They have got the corner, but they haven't got the cart onto the third point yet. But Disky is doing great there just to land so much damage onto Dead. Pidox is weak as well. He's going to have to eat a sandwich or something to stay alive. But everyone in Wasp is really, really weak here. If they can get the cap, this will be huge for them. But no, they don't manage to. They seem to lose a few players, but the scout is still there. But Ruhi's back up and manages to stop that with a body shot onto Lippy. But big plays there by Fair Enough, just clutch, keeping themselves alive and in position, even though they were all pretty weak. And Wasp are going to have to try it and repush this again. They do have a small advantage, but it's not big. And they might have to wait now for Trox and Death to respawn it. They've just gone down.
Yeah, there's actually a pretty big misplay here. Actually, out of the defense, they did not focus the cart nearly enough as they need to. I know Disky did go down a few times, but this cart's now rolling backwards. It needs to get touched, though. It doesn't go down the hill. Having that on that final plane, it does finally roll down the hill, and that's actually going to give a nice little advantage to Fair Enough here. Engineer's going to try to cap this as Uber does get popped off from the offensive side. Counter Uber does come off. here from Fair Enough. Actually, much better Pyro chasing down the enemy combos. They do get pushed away here. That trying to get some spam back out there with the Pyro going incredibly forward, but gets easily taken out there by the level 3 Sentry Gun, though. That does get set, but nobody's able to help on that damage. Engineer should be able to take out the Spy. Finally does go down. Delman back coming in here. Gets the Engineer. No, not able to take it down again. Nice job there holding it up, but now the Scouts pushing this cart. They need to make sure they focus this down, and that's what they've been missing out here, is we're just getting a really good exchange here. Conk comes out. The offensive team cart does get pushed up, and the third point should be taken down as the gun does get backed out to the final point. 5 minutes and 19 seconds for 3 points. I would say is about average. Nothing too exciting there.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. I mean, 2:17 for the first 2 points was pretty rapid. Fair Enough didn't manage to get a hold on to second, but they slowed down a bit. But I agree with what you said there. Fair Enough making the mistake of not focusing that cart, and Bugs are so much credit to him. He has just been focusing that cart, walking it forward and pressuring it, getting it into a good position, so that when the Ubers did come in and traded, he could just push that cart and manage to get the cap. But Hearts has brought out the Beggar's Bazooka, the first Beggar's player of the season, takes down Death with a good pick there. So that's going to slow down Wasp there. But the Uber is used by Fair Enough, and Clefsas has managed to escape here with his life intact. And there is pressure coming in on the front stairs, but D-Toad goes down, Bugser goes down, and there's not much cart pressure now, as Wasp are just trying to get themselves into a decent position. Coming in through the front stairs, Clefsas is healing Death up, trying to get some good spam. There is no traps here. I'd really like to see a trap here, and Storm is on a 5 kill streak, takes down Ruhi, so that just means no sniper to push in. The big Beggars just spamming down that corridor, takes down Death. And that's going to be really frustrating, as Death's that second time he's died in a row to that now. And Wasp losing a few players here, and I don't know, Fair Enough just trying to solidify things. They do have a small Uber disadvantage. I'm not sure if Wasp are aware of that 20% difference, but I'm sure CeeJaey is going to get it in time before Wasp decide to push. And we start to get to the nitty gritty now, as Death walks up the front stairs, doesn't get any kills, it just forces Uber, and Wasp are trying to back out here. He can't really chase with Bidox. And this is where things start to get a little bit stalemate if you don't get that successful push.
Though they did take down Pidox, so no heavy on this defensive side. Just the Pyro and Demoman able to hold us up. As the Scouts actually WM1 into the demo right there. Goes down pretty low, but able to back out there as the Pyro is able to secure that. He grabs the health pack and now is on the cart. But look at this combo. They're so far back right now. Oh! Did the medic? Yeah, Stormin takes down CeeJaey right there. Down he goes, as well as Death comes up with a 2K, taking down a Disky and Heart, and that should open up as we only have 3 alive here on the defensive side. Just make that 2. Engineer's the only one who can do any damage, but the Scout taking a good position, and down goes the cart. 7 minutes and 36 seconds. Nice cap there in that final push, and good job by different players opening and creating space, and WASP comes away with, 7 minutes and 36 seconds, and again, I'd say it's like a good side of average. I don't know, what do you think about that time?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty normal time, but I would say, I reckon Wasp are going to be the happier out the two here. Coming into this, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll go into a little bit of details when we've got kind of the halftime break in between rounds, but I think Wasp are going to be really, really happy with that, and that's certainly put pressure on. I'm not saying it's a fast time, but it's probably faster than Fair Enough would maybe have expected to be coming against them from Wasp. So Wasp definitely going to be in a happier of the two moods there, as we see Fair Enough in the blue now, Wasp in the red, and Fair Enough have to beat this time of 7 minutes and 36 seconds, otherwise the first round will go to Wasp. And I really liked the aggression there from Wasp. I mean, they forced the Uber, backed out, got a couple of kills, and then they just rolled forward. And once again, it was Bugser just doing his work on the cart, staying on the cart, and Mint was trying his best with that Wrangler to try and get some kills, get some damage onto that cart area. But from the angle he was, it wasn't possible. And we do see some... no, I thought CeeJaey was going to come out there. No, actually, he is coming out the door. It's just giving some cheeky buffs to people as Storming gets the first kill onto Pidox, and a couple of players dying already, so suicides are going to be pretty slow as Storming gets a second onto the demo. So they're just going to push that cart up now, and then maybe we can see, but Clefsas used his Uber? Did you see what happened there?
I didn't see him use it. Did he just not... I'm really okay, so maybe there was a misclick there. I guess the Uber charge at the start of the round here. I don't know if the enemy team realizes that they have this Uber advantage, as they actually suicide a few more players in. Again, I didn't see him go down to low HP, but who can say here is the Spy is actually going back to sap that teleporter entrance, but that's going to actually allow Clefsis to come back up to 100%, so a little misplay of the Spy not getting the intel to the team. I mean, there's also no reason why you should check for that, but a really aggressive play out of Ruhi, taking down Death and no Devil Man on this defensive here, as we should see an Uber pop.
Yeah, the Uber comes in and it's focused onto a Disky, gets so much damage, but the Pyro there is just going to push them back. Crow with the Reflex, but the Uber is wearing off now, and WASP are deciding they need to get out of there, losing a few players. No Death, no Trox. Means no heavy players to keep the medic protected, and it is an aggressive sentry here from Olber placed on the floor, and they are playing quite aggressive on the hill, but the big jump in from a Disky gets some good damage down there. Everyone looking at him in the sky. The Spy comes in and gets the backstab onto Pidox, so fair enough, we're just going to slow down the big jump in from Lippy. He lands one onto the medic, two onto the medic, CeeJaey is down, and that is Uber advantage again now for WASP. Or actually I should say for the first time in this round for that unknown pop we saw earlier from Clefsas, but CeeJaey getting the respawn, 70% in the hands of Clefsas, and his team are going to be pretty comfortable on that hill, playing quite aggressive until Viljack there gets a headshot with the Ambi onto Death. So no demo on the defense is going to be quite hard, Sigafoo, to stop them walking up or pushing that cart without any spam as Hearts tries to get some access through tunnel.
Yeah, we need to bring Hearts up here to try to defend this hill. As you said, no Demo Man. Its aggressive playstyle is very similar to the North American style. We call it the Octopus hold, as you try to have your medic in the middle, but without a Demo Man, it's virtually impossible to hold because the angles to spam over the hill is just like you really need that Demo Man to do that. As we have about 5 on the hill right now. CeeJaey at 67%, but actually a big bomb in from the Soldier. In over the top, not able to land any rockets onto the medic there as they're holding, but the Heavy goes down. Trox is not alive as well as Death, so no big classes here as the second point's being pushed, and Clefsas holding at 100%, but he's going to have to get out of this point. Actually, are they going to push back into this? It's already too late as Ubers do get exchanged here. I guess it's going to might come out in the favor of the defensive here, but they're the only ones alive right now, and they're retreating all the way back to the third point. The only thing that's going to come out in their favor is they have such a long way to push this card up on this third point, but look at this aggression already come out fair enough. 4 minutes and 32 seconds left on the clock, and they're looking pretty strong right now as Clefsis went down there to a nice backstab from Viljack.
Yeah, that's a massive play, and that's totally opened things up now for fair enough. I mean, Clefsas, I think, made the mistake. He didn't use his Uber. He didn't drop the Uber, but he dropped all of his team, and it was only him and Lippy alive. And part of me was thinking, is this a good decision to Uber and Lippy? At least then it forced the Uber onto fair enough. They didn't have the Uber to push into third, but they didn't need it. They had so many players alive, and WASP had nobody defending. They could just walk forward, and no sentry, no NG, no medic. It's going to look really, really bad now as the cart is just reaching the third point. And fair enough's combo is already on last with 100% Uber. They've taken control of top. Clefsas goes down again, this time to Hearts with the Beggar's Bazooka, and the Uber is used by fair enough. So many players are weak or down for WASP, but actually fair enough are not getting the ground that they would probably desire, and WASP are just kind of getting players up now and into position. Hearts big jump onto the NG, takes him down with that shotgun I was talking about earlier. Olber was actually running minis. But we have just seen a little bit of a slowdown now from fair enough, as it's pretty much equal Ubers, and they still need to get the car in through the tunnel area.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. It looks like they're finally going to rotate to that upper area. Really nice play there earlier by Hearts, who came up through drop down to get Clefsis there. As he goes down again, Hearts just has his number, and that's going to give a nice Uber advantage to CeeJaey here. 30 minutes left on the clock, and it's looking incredibly in fair enough's favor here. As the cart's being moved up, though, Clark does go down, but the quick respawn means he's already he's only just a few seconds away from coming back up, as this upper area is going to be contested. Heavy goes down early, as the other Heavy looks like he's going to win this battle against the Pyro. Finally, Uber does come off, but that's mostly just to clear out this upper area. Demo Man, that is Death, who's able to get away, running back to spawn. No, Hearts lands a shot as he's trying to run away, and this card should be pretty easy to push in here unless WASP is able to find something to get a defensive going.
Yeah, they have the players alive, but in comes Crow onto the car. Tries to push people off and does actually manage to do the damage needed to stop the people there. Great play there by WASP, as Lippy also comes in and clears up some players using that conch on the cart now. 2 minutes approaching on the time left. Fair enough, have a lot of time. They have a couple of pushes left in them at least. before they run out. But Wasp there, really clutch plays there by the Pyro and the Soldier, but death goes down to the NG. Mint being really aggressive in this upper area, being chased down and gets taken down by trucks in the end. But that's going to be giving them opening now for 10 seconds as death is in that respawn queue as well as Stormin. No sniper for them to contend with. The Uber is used up top, but it's just great play here. Quick fix is used by Clefsus, but the Spice comes in behind, misses out. Oh no, he finally gets him. Filtrak getting the backstab. Lots of players weak for fair enough, but if he can get on that cart. But at the moment, it's Lippy. He is holding down that place by himself, and it's great play by him as Wasp gets some more kills. CeeJaey goes down to D-Toad with the Ambi, and yeah, Wasp lived to fight for another minute and 20 seconds, Sigafoo. This is really, really close.
How is this even possible? I mean, that last stand, I mean, multiple players stepping up to the plate, and now they're able to do this. CeeJaey going down gives Clefsus at least a chance to even it out, as he did go back. He was on quick fix, does go back to Ubercharge. A minute left on the clock here, and we're only getting about one more good push left here, as you said, Lippy, Black Box, incredibly powerful when done well, already on a 9k right now, so really nice job by him playing incredibly smart. Mini Sentries up right now on the defensive side, 70% coming in the favor of CeeJaey. A little bit of an Uber advantage, so they might be able to, if they push incredibly aggressively off of it, they might be able to get something, as we do have the defensive combo holding upper, and it's just a really question of now where is Fair Enough going to push up. Soldier actually jumps in, corners out the Delman, and Death does go down, and it's going to open up here as a quick fix comes out on the offensive side. That's actually a Fist of Steel heavy onto the cart. They do need to focus it. Pyro comes in from behind, trying to air blast somebody into the cart. Engineer and Soldier jump on the cart. Finally, he does go down from, but backstab. That's no pickaxe in the cart, but only 2 alive here on the defense. It's just the medic and the Pyro, and they should be able to take this as a medic standing on the cart with the Pyro, and there you go. 16 seconds left in the clock is just enough for Fair Enough to take it down, as they do take the first round.
I loved that play there from Fair Enough. Just don't worry about trying to contest top. Don't worry about the sentry. Don't give a shit about anything. Just use a quick fix onto a Fist of Steel heavy on the cart. Obviously, when you run in a quick fix, you can still cap things while you're under the effect of the quick fix Uber, and that's exactly what they did. And with that resistance on the Fist of Steel, and not being able to be air blasted by the Pyro, all of that all together just meant they could just power the cart in, and by the time that Wasp realized what was going on, it was too late. They didn't have the players in the right positions. They didn't have the players alive to do it. Great play by Fair Enough there to snatch that first round away. And yeah, I mean, that was much closer than I thought. For a while there at the start, I thought Wasp have posted a really good time here, and they may be able to win this round. And then it looked like Fair Enough were just kind of steamrolling it into their favor. But a very, very decent hold by Wasp at the last point meant that Fair Enough had to wait a little bit longer, but they do win that first round. And Sigafoo, I was just going to, I've got a little bit of experience with these two teams, having played them quite a lot over the past 24 hours, really. I scrimmed both teams on this map yesterday, and to me it did seem like Wasp were struggling on it, but they didn't have their full roster, to be fair to them. And I also played them again earlier on with my UGC team, and again they seem to struggle on a couple of the points, but they don't seem to be struggling here. And I don't know, I mean, what are your kind of... Looking at this, what are your predictions for the next 2 rounds? I mean, now that we've seen how they're playing on this map, where do you think this game's going to go?
I mean, it definitely just looked at, I think that Fair Enough is going to have a very good chance to win this game, because the defensive side of WASP was just atrocious. Like, that second point, they had every advantage going in. The medic was down, they had Uber advantage, they had an aggressive hold on the second point, and somehow they took like an Uber advantage and aggressive hold to giving up 2 points in a row. If they would have Ubered earlier, if the medic was a little bit more aggressive on the defensive side, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could have done differently, ultimately, to stop the bleeding. But they ended up doing this thing that happens with a lot of teams when it comes to TF2, when it comes to defensive side of payload maps, which is they kind of go, well, should I hold, maybe, kind of, and then, like, you end up losing multiple points. It's like either you need to defend the point incredibly aggressively, or you need to back up and give up that point for free and then go to the next one. And they decided to kind of do the worst of both, and ended up giving 2 points, and then they almost give up the 4th point if it wasn't for the incredible heroics out of multiple players on the team to be able to defend that point. And so, I mean, to fix that, I mean, like, that's kind of a bigger thing to fix, is that aggression, that mindset that they need to kind of change. And so if they can square that away, I think they would have. I mean, that last hold looked incredibly great, but they also had their backs against the wall, and it's a lot easier to defend when your backs are against the wall than when it's a little bit more freeform. So I'm interested to see interested to see if WASP can change that mentality as we come into this next round. I don't know, what did you see out of Fair Enough? What did you think they did right or wrong?
I think Fair Enough, I mean, they needed to be a little bit more clinical on the last point. Especially, I mean, they had the right idea, they got the aggression, but they didn't have the cart far enough forward, and they tried to be pushing into the spawn area on the last point before the cart was even entered into the last area room kind of space, which if you don't have the cart there, then you can just get spammed out of choke, and that's something that happens quite a lot in in games where the combo's like, hey, we're blocking them at spawn. And your flank's going, well, we can't push the cart because there's a sentry or there's a demo just spamming the choke point. So maybe they need to be a little bit smarter and just hold some areas. But definitely the indecision from WASP allowed them to sort of get that second point. They had a huge Uber advantage. Maybe if they'd been really aggressive, they could have pushed with that Uber advantage before Fair Enough got Uber on second. But they didn't. They waited, which was fine. They just needed to force Uber, but they led too many players on second, and that led on to the rollover onto third. But we're on this second round now. We're going to see Fair Enough attacking first this time around, with WASP defending, and then we'll swap around. I mean, I can see Fair Enough taking this. I can definitely see them being the favourites in this game, but I do think WASP are going to win around, and if they are, it's going to have to be this round as we start off. And yeah, I'm going to have to see if Fair Enough suicides are going to go a little bit better, as Clefsas doesn't use his Uber at the start of this time.
And actually, the Tiger's Bazooka gets absolutely shut down there early on, as well as Clark going down and actually getting some decent spam onto the gun. Spy again on the offensive side. Viljack kind of taking. There's one Spy in America who likes to run out the spawn and kill the teleporter right away, and that's exactly what Viljack is doing here. As a suicide wave did go through, already get the respawns back in, and of course the offensive side gets incredibly fast respawns. Direct hit is up and ready to go, spamming down that gun, 2 shots. Engineer a little bit distracted, not able to rescue range of the gun or save it as Storming goes down, so no defensive sniper here, as we should see an Uber exchange. Actually, Skeej goes down there from a trap from Death. What happened there? That's an Uber drop as Cliffs pops, and they should be able to defend this point.
Oh, that is heartbreaking for Fair Enough. Yeah, big drop there from Skeej. Didn't check the sticky traps, or his teammates did at least. Didn't alert him to the danger. He just popped a little bit too late. Great play by Fair Enough to just eliminate the sniper. The first came in from the pick from Ruhi, and then Viljack getting the second kill. So Stallman has not had any time, as once again Viljack gets the ambi kill onto him. So they are allowed to get Skeej out once again. Not too much of an Uber disadvantage, but that is a delay. That is more time added to the clock for them to take it a little bit slower, and Death is quite aggressive here. Gets a launch into the skybox, is not going to crater. He's so weak, 5 HP, but somehow manages to survive. And WASP may start to think about getting out here. They've got combo players that are weak. They do not have the Ruby yet, but the conch comes in, but Death and Trox both go down there to Hearts using the direct hit now, attacking, and if Fair Enough are going to get this point. And once again, WASP need to be careful. They don't leak plays it, but they use the Uber. Use the Uber onto Crow. She does force that Uber and causes it to multi, but I think Clefsas might get caught out here if he's not careful.
That was a really bad Uber out of Skeej. I don't think they had any reason, any pressure on Skeej to pop that Uber. I think Clefsas was trying to pop that to make sure he got out alive, and as I say that, he goes down from a disc. And actually, Clefsas also got on an incredibly long respawn, 20 seconds until he's alive again. So that's pretty much a guaranteed second point for this offensive team, and Skeej is going to have a nice Uber advantage. But again, that Uber pop out of Skeej, I mean, obviously now it doesn't matter anymore, but I'm not sure if it was really worthwhile if you think about it. I mean, they already had, they were taking the ground, they were taking it for free, he was under no pressure. But we'll see if it's going to work out in their favor. Second point coming up here. Finally, Clefsas is back up. They're trying to defend this point from a passive position. Skeej coming up at 70%, but the card's so far forward that they have to. WASP has to be careful here that they don't get stuck in. You want to keep your players alive and get to that third point, because I mean, the only thing that they're going to get out of this situation is, if they can hope, is an early Uber pop, which isn't the worst idea, but you also don't want to overextend and lose players too early here, as the medics actually might be exposed here. Direct hit soldier actually coming in from behind. Does anybody see him? Can't land a rocket. Finally does land one, but it's not enough to take him down, as Skeej is sitting at 100%.
We have a big sticky trap there from Death. Takes on a Disky, so no demo for Fair Enough. He has to respawn, and it's giving Clefsas time to catch up in the Uber stakes here. He's at 85%, and Skeej is still at 100, so Fair Enough taking it a little bit slower than before. But they do use the Uber, and Clefsas doesn't have it. He's at 99%. Finally gets it. Loses Crow in the process, and the sentry gun goes down as well. But WASP are going to be able to defend this. They lost a couple of players. Bugs are getting really aggressive, just holding that W key and walking into house. He is on the teleporter now, and manages to take that down. But fair enough, are getting good time on cart, and this is what we saw from WASP earlier. They didn't focus the cart enough, and the air shot, mini air shot there from Lippy takes down Adiski. But fair enough, are getting great time on cart, and there's nobody trying to contest them, as the flank just seems to have so much time and space just to walk forward as Dito gets destroyed there by the direct hit. And Stormy goes down again, so fair enough, in a good position here. No sniper to walk into, and they're starting to walk up ramp now with CeeJaey at 40%, and Clefsas must have got a couple of saws because he's at 90%.
Yeah, he is right there. This is a go. Oh no! Adiski with a nice 2K right there coming around the corner, and that's going to open it up. Clefsas was in such a good spot to push out there, but no offensive classes to really help him out. That actually, that pipe, that 2-for-1 pipe actually pretty much gives any ability to hold on to this, as actually he's running all the way forward. That's Adiski trying to find something, but gets butter knife there by D-Toad. But the third point does go down in the favor here. Fair enough, fast respawns are going to come up onto this final point. Clefsas at 100%, but CeeJaey is going to be at 85%, and going to be no aggressive pops here on the defensive side. But we'll see if we can get another miracle hold out of this last point. 4 minutes and 35 seconds is definitely a decently fast time, especially if you can get a good one push in here. As we are seeing, looks like they're going to be pushing from under to over, as a soldier with a black box jumps in and gets one rocket to the medic who is looking away, and it looks like we should see an Uber exchange here.
Yeah, the Ubers are traded up top, and so much damage done to trucks before the Uber was used, and Krog does go down, so that's no pirate to blast them away on the stairs. With a backstab from Dito takes down Adiski, that's going to slow things down, but Death gets taken down by Clark. Great scout play by him. And things are just dying all over the place here for Waspers. Oh, the Heavy just walks up top. Clark there helping out and landing that final meat shot onto Clefsas, but Pidox did all of the damage. There's only 4 players left up for Wasp now, but Lippy is in that top area, and he's controlling it a little bit, and he gets charged by Mint, who takes him down. Great play there by the Swedish NG, but there is a level 3 here from Olber, and that is what is blocking the cart at the moment, and fair enough, cannot do anything, but big jump in from a heart takes down Olber with the shotgun, and a sap came in from Viljak at the same time to take down that sentry. Great teamwork there by the fair enough flank, and Adiski is now just on the cart trying to cap it. Big play by Crow, but she gets taken down as well, and fair enough might actually cap this. This may be a decently fast time, under 6 minutes or so, as it finally goes in 6 minutes and 12, so faster than, about a minute and a half faster than we saw in the first half. Sigafoo, and fair enough definitely putting themselves in pole position to take this match.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play, particularly out of Hearts there. I think he really is what solidified that final push there. Even though the Heavy made the med pick, but the reason that he was able to make that med pick is that, so 2 times Hearts jumped up from where the where the cart area is. He jumped up behind the medic. The first time he got a rocket onto him, which allowed and got some damage onto the Heavy, which allowed kind of to open that up. And then the second time he jumped up, got a rocket onto the medic, threw him down into the stairwell, and then the Heavy was up top. The medic was trying to run back to the med pack because he was at half health and got just mowed down by the Heavy standing right there. So just really nice job there by Hearts. I mean, just doing a great job setting up the place. And then the sentry gun pick in combination with the spy, beautiful teamwork together. He chose a great angle to jump up at, so he didn't take any sentry gun damage because he was going above the sentry gun's range. Just all around amazing plays by Hearts there. Really helped his team get that final point here. It's 6 minutes and 12 seconds, and WASP is going to need something great here because they did not look too spectacular on their initial push. Not bad, but definitely more on the average side. So here we go. Gates are opened up. They didn't do a suicide wave last time. We'll see if they do one this time. Yeah,
just aggressive coming out of it. Clefsas is already, he's getting fate stabbed by the spy, and manages to survive, but he gets down to quite weak, less than 80 HP there. And Death getting a couple of kills, does manage to take down Adiski. 20 seconds in the respawn queue there for the fair enough demo, and the direct hit is being spammed from long distance. Ruhi is quite weak, standing right next to the sentry. That is being wrangled, but this is the opportunity for WASP now. They have no demo to contend with for another 5 seconds at least. And they need to walk in as Ruhi does get a pick onto Stormin, so no sniper pick there for WASP. And a lot of aggression coming out of WASP now. They do need to, like you said, be on the front foot and get some decent cap time already, because coming up to the 5 minute mark already, there is a lot of pressure on WASP. If they don't win this round, that is it, game over, and no points for them in the season opener. As the suicides come in, not really achieving much. Hearts dies, but that's not a massive pick when it comes to, you consider it's a soldier on the first point of upward.
Yeah, and this is what a lot of teams run into when it comes to the first point of upward. We're just like, oh, well, we need to get a medic force, we need to get a sentry gun down. No, you don't need that. Like, you just need to push in with your Uber, you exchange Ubers, you have the advantage, you have high ground. There's a lot of advantages you get just by exchanging Ubers, and it looks like they're going to go to the far side, the flank side, to try to exchange this Uber. They do get the first sticky off, Uber does come out. Medic's still not forced, sentry gun does go down there, finally the defensive Uber does come off. Not too much better, actually, in terms, and they're going to back up onto the second point. Wise decision here, out of Fair Enough, playing very safe here. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, and they're looking pretty good so far as they have most of their team alive, and already the sentry gun, no, actually Mint's down right now, but the cart's going to be coming through the tunnel. But again, this indecision to like just push with your Uber, like, exchange, that's exactly what they did there, and they just took down the point, but they wasted a minute in doing that.
Yeah, and it's meant that it's equal Ubers, and Fair Enough have a decent forward hold on second already. But being really aggressive here is Olver, the NG. He's just walking forward and actually scares the Fair Enough combo just to back off there. And Adiski takes a lot of damage from that mini, but he does manage to take down Death in the process. 3 players down for Fair Enough at the moment, but nothing really major, nothing really combo-wise that could make a difference, as Viljak is dominating Stormin, has been really on top of Stormin this game, and hasn't allowed him to get the picks that he requires. But Wasp hit. Oh no, the drop comes in from Klefsas. Sorry, not a drop piece, 94%, but he dies. The big Beggar's Bazooka Bomb from Hearts takes down Klefsas. The free Uber is used by Fair Enough just trying to clean up some players here as Lippy and Crow go down. Fair Enough get back into position. Their only casualty so far is Ruhi, the sniper, and that has really, I think, put one foot in the grave already for Wasp. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go. They need to make this next push count, Sigafoo, otherwise I think it's game over for them.
And right now, I really think that D-Toad should be making a play on that cart. 2 seconds left on the cart. You start to look, but look at how close it is. If he just touched it, ran away. I mean, he's playing Cloak and Dagger. He's trying to make a big play, but he could have captured the objective while everybody was distracted. The Pyro obviously was back there. He was looking for the spy, but I mean, right there, he could have pushed that cart up to create a distraction play. But now the cart's rolling backwards. The combo's playing decently aggressive, not super aggressive, but enough to kind of keep back the enemy team. As Skeech actually goes down there from Stormin, and that's going to open up here for Wasp if they do it correctly. Actually, Spy's trying to make a play. Counter as Viljak does finally land 3 body shots onto Klefsis, and there you go. As any advantage Wasp had right there, it's not quite there. Level 3 sentry gun is being healed up. It finally does go down. Cart does get captured with the help of the scout there. Skeech still down as Klefsis does come back up on that forward spawn. Actually, did he not forward spawn? I believe he should have here. But 2 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock, and they basically need ×3 to be able to capture this.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible, but they do need constant pressure on that car, and they need to start walking their combo up forward. Skeech does have a 25% Uber advantage, as he spawned before Klefsas, who died much later. And Klefsas is still not healing. He's spawned, but he's only just started healing, so it's about 40% advantage now for Skeech. But Wasp are actually walking forward. This is a mistake, I think, from Fair Enough, as they've just let them take the slope, but in doing so take down Death, Crow and Stormin. So not such a bad decision in the end anyway. But Wasp are getting time on the cart. Beggars comes in on the cart, takes down Trox, takes down Bugzer. That cart pressure is what we didn't see in the first round from Fair Enough. They let the cart get far too forward, and Hearts has reacted to that, and he's using that Beggars to great effect. 100% Uber in the hands of Skeech, with 1 minute and 20 seconds approaching on the clock. If Wasp don't make this, we need a big Uber drop, we need something, a push, a wipe, to start getting forward for Wasp to make this happen, but they start bleeding players, and it's looking less and less likely that they're even going to be able to capture this thread. Skeech is still holding onto that Uber, and it is starting to look like 6 points for Fair Enough here, Sigafoo.
Yeah, right now, Wasp, if they have any chance right now, they need to catch their breath, which is a hard thing to do in this situation. The problem is their flank is trying to push the cart away from the combo when the combo's not applying pressure. That makes it very easy to clear off that cart. And it's hard to make a play in there. That actually might open up because Hearts is generally the only one who watches the cart on this offensive side. So here we go, some aggression out of this team. Skeech is sitting at 100%. They actually had big Uber advantage as the soldier gets popped up, but nobody's watching the cart right now as the scout's doing a good job pushing it. As I said, Hearts is usually the one, but he did go down. He's still down right now. Dumbman trying to make a play, but actually gets popped back as Viljak not able to make a play. ×2 onto the cart. 30 seconds left on the clock. Dumbman trying to bomb the cart, trying to slow it down here, as it actually does land on pipe, but gets taken out by Stormin, so no Demoman on this defensive side. Sentry gun is sapped, and it's going to go down, as its mint did go down, so here we go. It seemed like there might be a chance, but with 10 seconds left on the clock, it's going to be 6 points in the favor here of Fair Enough.
Yeah, that is pretty much game over now. 3 seconds left on the clock. They are going to cap third. Maybe, yeah, they do just, but they don't capture that last point, that all-important last point, which means that Fair Enough are going to take the second round. And that is a 2-0 victory on Upward, meaning the full 6 points goes to Fair Enough in our season opener, first game of the season. And Fair Enough will be spending the rest of Monday and Tuesday sitting alone at the top of the table. Thanks to that win. I mean, what did you see was the difference between the two teams there, Sigafoo? I mean, we at the start of the stream, we said these two teams would be close, fourth and fifth. You know, they've both made some changes. They've both made some kind of strengthened some positions, perhaps. Where was the differences? What really kind of changed the game? Were there any particular plays that stood out for you?
Yeah, there's kind of two different plays that kind of stood out to me this last round, and it was the medic and the engineer. So on the first point, I talked about it at the halftime. Like, what does WASP need to change? They need to stop being indecisive on their transitions from point to point. Like this thing I love to say, which is that in payload maps, the thing that wins games on defense is transitions. You have to be knowing when you want to get out of your point. Like, you can't hold in between, and that's what WASP was doing. They're trying to like kind of hold and try to get out, and you end up just dying. And that's what happened on the first point there. They like the medic ended up like getting stuck on that final point. They should have just backed out. I believe that was the second round, if I'm remembering this correctly. And then the other thing that happened is on the third point, the engineer. You know, and I don't mean to harp on engineers because, you know, stuff happens. You know, the direct hit taking down the level 3 sentry gun, like that's happened to me before. I get distracted and don't pull up my Wrangler in time to be able to defend that or to heal up my gun. But you always have to be like if you place your gun in a long sight line against a direct hit soldier, you have to have this knowledge. Like if you know the soldier is on direct hit and you place your gun purposely in a long sight line, like you have to be aware of this, and you got to keep your gun alive despite this. That means you have to be very, very aware. If one direct hit soldier rocket comes out, you have to be ready for the second one, and you have to heal your gun up before that. And on the third point of this map, they pushed in, and the engineer was not able to get his gun like healed up or saved or anything like that. And I understand that like the Rescue Ranger Wrangler combo isn't as strong as it used to be, but the Wrangler is an incredibly powerful tool because even if it doesn't deal damage, even if it doesn't do anything else, it soaks up damage from the enemy team. And the level 3 sentry gun, he just left it out there. He wasn't able to get it healed up too well because it got heavily focused, but the Wrangler would at least taken away some more damage from the enemy team. And it's like little things like that that allow, like, because if they focus more on your sentry gun, that takes away more damage from your team that would be taken, or you can like bring it back. There's a lot of different plays that can be happening off that, and I know it just seemed like a lack of kind of concentration overall on the defensive side and decision making and whatnot. It was what ultimately led it to WASP to lose, because their offense wasn't bad. Like it was pretty good. Like it was for like on the average side of good, but their defense was like it left a lot like to be desired, because it just seemed like they just couldn't make decisive decisions about what the combo wanted to do, and I think that was ultimately their downfall.
Yeah, that's what we talked about in the break. The indecision coming from the WASP players maybe cost them that round. And obviously some mistakes in the second obviously led up to that as well. Just looking at the logs for that that second round there, Risky top fragging with 19 frags, also top damaging with 7.2k. But then you got Ruhi with 18, Clark and Hearts both with 16. Came in for some flack yesterday, talking about Fair Enough's flank maybe being a weak point for the team in yesterday's chat show, but they certainly showed that they were very capable today. Really, really putting in a strong performance. Hearts there, out damaging everyone else in the server other than his own demo man. So even getting higher than Death there, who is a Premiership 6's level demo man. So great play by him. Alba being the sole WASP player in the top 5 with 12 frags, the engineer. And I mean, if your engineer is top fragging, then you clearly something's going wrong there. But how do you see the rest of the season coming for Fair Enough and WASP? I mean, I know you don't know that much about maybe possibly the rest of the lineups in the division, but based on this, do you think WASP can go back and they can work out their problems and maybe fix things up for the next games, or is it kind of, do they need to make some bigger changes?
I think that they definitely can fix what they're doing wrong and kind of get, because a lot of the stuff is just mental. Like the DM is there, the intelligence is there. Kind of on the inverse side, that point, the first round when they defended that final point. I mean, that really speaks a lot about your team to be able to step up, understand what they need to focus, how to get the objective defended. And that's where actually the engineer in particular made a good play as down talking his level 3 play, but on the offensive side, or like his intelligence level, I can see like in different areas was working out well. And it seemed like everybody, like their DMs seemed fine. Like I didn't feel like they're like losing a lot of DM battles. It just seemed like, I mean, they just kind of that mental side of transitions and stuff like that. If they fix that, I think they could do well going forward. Fair enough. On the inverse side, I'm actually surprised you guys. Yeah, we're down talking their flank, because Hearts, I mean, he was a star of this game. I mean, he looked phenomenal, making so many plays. If you count, I mean, the spy's not really a flank play, but I mean, in some ways he is, and he was doing work. Its Mint was running, just going in weird spots, which is I love to see out of engineer, an aggressive engineer, because that's the thing, is like you never expect the Spanish Inquisition or an engineer, because they just, if you find him in a random spot, you can just do really weird, fun plays, and I thought Mint was doing that. So overall, I mean, I felt like Fair Enough looked incredibly strong, and I'm very curious to see how they fare against some of the previous high-ranking teams. But I think Fair Enough definitely looking strong to at least maybe make a top 3 finish this year, if not better. And WASP, I definitely think they can improve going throughout the season. They didn't look bad. So they didn't look like, you know, the best they could do, but I think they definitely can do a lot better. And if they fix some of the mistakes they're making, the mental mistakes, I think they definitely can make a good showing this season. How about yourself? What do you think of for them coming away from this first game? You saw them live in action. Where do you kind of see them in rankings amongst the other teams?
Well, I mean, based on the teams that we know are playing, I think Fair Enough, they're going to need to churn out some big results against the top teams. I mean, there was a problem for them last season. Every season they've always just missed out on the playoffs, and last season was kind of the closest they ever got. They were sitting at the top of the table at the halfway point. They'd beaten every team with the maximum amount of points, and then they had to play the big 3 teams, and they lost to all of those teams with maximum points, meaning, you know, there was a big divide between the top 3 and the rest. So they really need to bridge that gap. So results like this are really going to put them in a good position for the later parts of the season. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's 6 points on the board that they can, you know, get themselves going. WASP, I'm sure, will look at this and think they're disappointed, but, you know, there's plenty of opportunity for other points, you know, in other games for the rest of the season. But for me, Fair Enough are probably going to be happy, like relieved, you know, cheerful that they've won this game. But they'll be looking towards some of the bigger teams and maybe eyeing those up for the points. But that is it for us today, guys. This was the season opener of ETF2L's Season 9 of Highlander. Week 1 on Upward. We just watched Fair Enough, sponsored by TF2Pickup.net, versus WASP, and Fair Enough taking it 2-0, picking up the full 6 points. First game of the season. I've been CeeJaey. With me has been Sigafoo. It's been a pleasure as always. And John has been in the background doing production. And hopefully see you on the next cast in the future.